Captain Hoop, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Peace to y'all. Peace to my YouTube family. Peace to the humanity. Peace to the human family. Today we're going to talk about this culture and the culture that we're currently upon. What's up? You fully charged it?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. If you need it again, just take it. And one of the most fascinating things I've ever started to come to understand and realize is that they don't teach us, nor is it in our conscious or in our language, to change culture. It's not in our fundamental thinking process. And I think it's hidden from us on purpose. It's hidden from us on purpose by powers or by entities that do not want us to realize our potential. And I think it's really messed up. I know it's messed up. That they spend years conditioning us for a certain amount of time, for a certain period, just so that we don't understand our own potential. That's evil. And we need to be able to have the ability to recognize this entity, to look through all the deception and see it for what it is. I think it is fascinating in a negative sense, or just in a wowing sense, that we're not taught, or it's in the language of our conscious, to change culture, to resurrect it, and to be the cultivators and creators of culture, to intentionally put forth the culture, to intentionally create an environment of what information goes into us and what doesn't. They don't teach us this. And now I'm at a certain understanding that they were not. They're responsible to do so, but their characteristics and their ways show us that they're not supposed to teach us. And that then comes to the conclusion that it is our responsibility to do so. It is our responsibility to change our culture, to manifest truth, to project truth within this society. Right now, this culture does not value human capital, does not value human dignity or human morality or even human intellect. So this culture doesn't progress us, it digresses us. It pushes us to death. It doesn't allow us to realize our fullest potential. And our fullest potential is what God has decreed, because he's the one that created us, right? So right now we're upon a culture of death. And it's only producing death. We value money more than we value our females at this point. We have in our culture, inside of the art, inside of the music, inside of the media, inside of its content, it is degrading our women, calling them bitches and hoes, promoting this promiscuity. In the same content, it's devaluing the lives of our brothers, promoting violence and promoting genocide within each other, to hate each other, to put down one another. It's in our music, it's in our culture to do so. And this is a problem. This is the issue. We have become capitalist, right? Right now we say in this culture that, oh, since he's making money, that's all that matters. So money is more valuable than the human morality, and this is a problem. This is what it means to sell your soul. To sell your soul doesn't really mean like you went to some devil worshiper and you was upon a trial. It doesn't mean that. They put your mind into that so that you can be, so they can give you myth. But in reality, right, in reality, what they're doing is that they're having you value money, the dollar, over your own human value, over your own human family. Right? And the thing is, we think, and peace to y'all, man. How y'all doing? Where y'all coming from? Let me know where y'all coming from. And what y'all think about what I'm talking about. We've become capitalists. We've valued the dollar over our human dignity, over our own integrity, over truth. And this is a problem. And we think white people are the issue. And let me tell you something. White people are not the issue. The issue was the ideas that they embodied to allow them to put themselves in the condition that they were in, which put us in the condition of slavery, of loss of self-identity. Unfortunately, the condition of black people went through white hands. They did. But that's because they embodied ideologies. So I'm saying this to tell you we shouldn't be fighting white people or think the problem is amongst white people. The problem is amongst the ideas that people embody. Because nowadays the black people are doing the same thing. So we're doing the same thing that these people that we used to call out. We're doing that. We've embodied their ideology and their system. And this is problematic. So now, instead of fighting with a certain race, what we need to do is this. We need to do battle with truth. We need to battle truth. We have to use truth as a tool to battle falsehood. Because falsehood, when you hit falsehood with truth, what it does is crumbles. It crumbles. And this is what we need to do. In order to do that, in order to use truth, though, we need to know what it is and how it operates. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to do together as a collective. And when we do that, what we can do is push out a productive society. And this, all of this, what it does, it starts to raise questions. What does it mean to have a culture? What does it mean to be productive? What does it mean to be authentic? What do these terms mean? And this is what we have to do and sit down and think about. Philosophers, this is what we need to do. Educate. We need to sit down and do this so that we can be upon the same common principle. Universal principles. From an ontological reality standpoint, race doesn't really exist. It exists socially and psychologically because we've been conditioned so. But from an ontological reality standpoint, race doesn't exist. In reality, there's only one race, and that is the human race. There's only one human race. And any idea that says different is satanic. When you look up the etymology of race, right? Well, look up the etymology of race. Research what I'm talking about. I don't want y'all to just take what I'm saying and hang out. Research it. Because I do my best to research truth and reality, what it is and how it functions. So you should do the same thing. What does race mean? Race originally meant coming from one lineage. That's scripture. We all come from one lineage. What is that one lineage? Adam. In the Quran, it says, Min nafsi wahida. That's in the Bible too. We all come from Adam. Adam is our father. So we are one human race in that instance. Yes, we are made into different tribes and in different nations, but we shouldn't hate one another. We're made that way so that we can learn about each other. And any idea that goes against that is satanic. Nowadays, you have sciences attempting to prove that each different race is not human. That's devilish. They trying to have us fight one another. We ain't supposed to be fighting one another. Supposed to be loving one another. Supposed to be promoting dignity with one another. Our culture doesn't promote that. There's an ayah in the Quran that says, "Wala qad karamna bani Adam," honorable and noble, all you old children of Adam. So our culture needs to reflect honor, dignity, respect towards the human. If it doesn't, we need to fix it. To the human. All right? So this energy, this energy. This culture that we're upon is not worth saving. These habits, we need to kill them. It's not worth saving. They need to be dead. What we need to do is learn how to resurrect a new culture, how to cultivate new soil, how to cultivate new ideas, how to cultivate a new environment, right? So that we can produce a new mind. When we produce a new mind, we produce a new society, right? A society is operating within the boundaries that God is pleased with. that God is satisfied with. When we do that, when we can do that, our society can advance forward, and then we'll be operating on our true human purpose. God tells us in the Quran, he helps the people. He does not come to help the people unless they change their condition. That is directly telling us that we need to be accountable for our society. We need to hold ourselves accountable for the damage that has been done. And we need to start partaking in the work. This is what it means to be a vicegerent, a khalifa, a khulafa, managing your environment. When we start to do this, we start to change the whole infrastructure of education. When we change the infrastructure of education, what it starts to do is that we start to manufacture a different type of people. Right now, the state of America is in a very low condition. The leadership of America is a very low condition. But the reason that the leadership of America is in the place that it is because all it's doing is reflecting the soul of America. We have these leaders because these are the people that we produce. So if we want new type of leadership, we need to produce a new type of people. And that starts in the education system. What are we actually learning in the system? What are we actually learning in the schools? They tell us not to talk about God in the schools. That's crazy work. We can talk about belittling one another. We can talk about killing one another. We could gossip with one another, but we can't talk about God. We can't talk about the very entity that created us, that gave us purpose. It's problematic. And talking about God is very important. It's the only important thing, matter of fact. Because from that, we can produce knowledges, we can produce sciences, we can advance our society. Every civilization that abandoned God consciousness collapsed. And that's not my opinion. That is historical fact. That is a historical fact. Look it up. All nations that rise, they were upon principles that God were approved of. And all the ones that fell is because they started to eat from the fruit, eat from the knowledges, eat from the tree that God has forbidden. And that's the fall of Adam. Societies fall, just like Adam fell. But here's the thing. Adam repented. And God continued to guide Adam. So for us, what that means, we need to continue asking for God for guidance. Again, we need to be educated on how to produce a culture. What is the first thing we need to know how to do to produce a culture? Well, we need to read. We need to be educated. See, in Islam, the most fundamental thing about education is understanding God's will. So what we need to do to be educated is to study God's will. That's scripture, and that's also the universal laws. Because the universe, the heavens, the sun, the moon, the stars, the celestial bodies, they're all in alignment with God's will. In education, the etymology of education is to bring out what's already within. So to bring out what's already within is to operate in the way that God has made you. To operate in the way that God has designed you. There's a blueprint designed within you. And when you know this blueprint, you can operate on this blueprint. Right? You won't be able to build a home without the blueprint. All humans have a blueprint. We have an objective one where we all have a functional one, and there's a subjective one where within that objectivity we have cultivated gifts and fruits that we're supposed to bear and give to the people. So we got to start studying God's will. What is God's will? What is God's will? And we have to look into that. That's what scriptures is for. New World Television Network. See, a New World, like anytime I break anything down, well, I always use, a lot of the times I'm going to use the etymology cipher. And a cipher, what it does is it unravels the truth within that process. Truth doesn't come to you all at once. It slowly comes to you. Slowly, right? And New World Television Network, again, and etymology is the study of a word. And so even within this process, we have to appreciate the people that done the work to protect the meanings of words, to protect truth. And what I like about this AI stuff now and this new technology is that we can develop tools to help us protect truth and advance the truth and do battle with the truth. That is very crucial. We always fear AI. How we believe in God and fear AI? That doesn't make sense at all. Right? So the word world, right? Word and old. Word means man, old means time. So this is a new age in time for humans to flourish. Within this new age, we're stepping into a new era where we develop new concepts, or we further the knowledge concepts. We develop blueprints and we develop structures, but the structures that we're going to be built upon is going to be built upon truth. What we want to do is project truth. We want to, in order to project truth, we have to understand reality. We have to understand how it functions. See, the thing about Allah or God, He gives you free will. You got free will, meaning that He allows you to be delusional or be truthful. But just know you're going to be accountable for what you have done. Understand that. And we live in a society where people can't see another realm, where they think only their perspective is true. And there's not we don't have, a lot of us have half truths. We don't have the full truth. Truth is complete. That's just how it functions. We need to learn how to get to the full truth, or to the fullest truth that we can get to possible. When we do that, what we can do is produce the promised land, right? There's a prayer from Jesus Christ. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy should be done on earth as it is in heaven. I'm going to stop there. So there's a prayer for a kingdom to come, to enter, right? But this kingdom on earth is reflecting what's happening in the heavens. And what's happening in the heavens is submitting to God's will. So what we're praying for is that we are acting like the heavens, like acting like the celestial bodies. This is the truth. And when we project this, we're aligning ourselves with the way God has ordained us. This is what we need to understand. So if you haven't already, go ahead and follow the channel. Tap in with us. We want to expand ourselves. We want to grow. We want to connect with other people. We want to have these type of conversations where I want to learn. I like learning. I like growing. I want to be in an environment where people are always forcing me to grow and always forcing me to think with truth, though, not with just narrow opinions, you know? So be wary of that, y'all. So, assalamu alaikum. Peace out.